Dear students of class 12, you are all welcome to my English class, and we can't meet face to face in our school because we are passing through a very critical time. I hope you are all now well. Take care of yourself, and now today's lesson we will begin with the second text, Strong Roots, written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, so you please bring your textbook and open your page, Strong Roots. Right now, this is an autobiographical writing. I hope you all know what is an autobiography. An autobiography is the written account, personal account of the writer's own life history. Because here the writer writes about his own life history, and so an autobiography is always in first person. And autobiography is never finished. Anyway, we are going to read about APJ Abdul Kalam's autobiography, Strong Roots. Actually, the name of the original book is Wings of Fire, and this is the first part. This is an extract. Are you interested in reading autobiography? Many great persons have written autobiography. Now Netaji's autobiography, An Indian Pilgrim, is also very interesting, and many great persons have written. Now we are going to read about APJ Abdul Kalam. You all know him. He is known as Missile Man, and he was also the 11th President of India. Now let us start. We will begin with the first short introduction. His full name was Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam. Was one of the pioneers of aerospace engineering in India. For a major part of his life, he worked as a scientist in Indian space programs. Some of his famous works are India 2020, Ignited Minds, Wings of Fire. He was the President of India from 2002 to 2007. This is a very short introduction to the writer. Now, if you are interested, you will read the original autobiography, the whole autobiography, Wings of Fire. This is just the beginning, an extract from that autobiographical writing. Now, second para, this is an introduction to the text. Strong Root is an extract from Dr. Kalam's autobiography, Wings of Fire. In this extract, he talks about his childhood in his hometown. The piece presents a delightful sketch of the author's early life and the development of his spiritual growth. Now, about any great person, we all want to know how was their childhood, isn't it? How they spent their childhood, how they got education, how they grew up and where they grew up. You all know he was a South Indian. He was a South Indian, and his hometown was Madras, formerly called Madras. And so here you will find an account of that place. It was near Rameshwaram. Now let us begin with the text. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. Now it's Chennai. My father, Jainuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Formal education, you know, academic degree, certificate you all get through learning after finishing an academic course. But in that sense, his father had no formal education. But that doesn't mean that he had no wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom are different. Anyway, despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom. and a true generosity of spirit. He possessed great innate wisdom. We see he was very respectful to his father, and he was he was sure that his father was born with wisdom. Innate means inborn, that is from birth. Inborn wisdom, innate wisdom, and a true generosity of spirit. He was very generous. He was very noble in his character. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiamma. Here also he shows great respect to his mother, and he thinks that his mother was an ideal helpmate of his father. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. Here we see that in his house, his mother fed many outsiders because we find that his father, his mother, they were very generous and they were very kind-hearted, and many outsiders every day were fed in their house. Now come to next paragraph. My parents were widely regarded as an ideal couple. My mother's lineage was the more distinguished, one of her forebears having been bestowed the title of Bahadur by the British. Kalam thinks that his mother's lineage, his mother's ancestors, they were more distinguished than his father's family. In which sense he says more distinguished? Because one of her forebears, one of her mother's ancestor was bestowed, was given, was conferred the title Bahadur by the British. It was then the British rule, you know, and the title Rai Bahadur, Bahadur, these were very honorable for an Indian. And so his mother's lineage was very honorable and respectable. Now, next paragraph. I was one of many children. So, he had many brothers and sisters. Next, he introduces himself, his physical stature. A short boy with rather undistinguished looks. Undistinguished, that means very simple, very common, nothing distinguished. Born to tall and handsome parents, but he admits his parents were tall and handsome, though he was not so. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large Pakka house, fairly large, and a Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. You all memorize this detail because this will be in your MCQ. You will get this type of questions and you will have to memorize in which street he lived, Mosque Street, and where did he live and how was their house. And so, Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. Austere. His father was morally very strict, and he avoided all inessential comforts, which he thinks not essential for living. His father avoided those comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothing. But though he avoided all kinds of comforts and luxuries, his father he was very careful about the necessities of life, that were food, medicine, clothing, etc. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, materially and emotionally. Materially, that means earthly, in terms of earthly necessities, and also emotionally. There was no lack of affection. So, Kalam's childhood, he spent his childhood in a very normal way, and he was satisfied with what he was given by his parents. And so because we see that he himself says his childhood was a very secure childhood. So he had no lack of anything. Though they had not much wealth, they were on the whole wealthy, and they were very not very comfort loving, but they were very happy. Up to this point we find that Kalam's family was a very happy family. Next, I normally ate with my mother, sitting on the floor of the kitchen. He used to sit on the kitchen. She would place a banana leaf before me. Banana leaf, you know, it is still used for eating in our villages. Anyway, that time was also, he also ate from banana leaf, on which she then ladled rice and aromatic sambar. Sambar is a kind of South Indian food. And ladled rice, that means ladle is here used as verb. Ladled rice and aromatic sambar, a variety of sour homemade pickle, and a dollop of fresh coconut chutney. Memorize all these, what he used to give generally. Now the food was very simple, but he was satisfied, and every day this kind of food he ate, and though it is not very luxurious, but he was very satisfied. And homemade pickle and dollop of fresh coconut chutney. Coconut chutney is very usual in South India, and so every day he used to get these items as food. Come to next para. The Shiva temple, which made Rameswaram so famous to pilgrims, was about a 10-minute walk from our house. You know, the Shiva temple in Rameswaram is very much respected by the Hindus, and it was only a 10 minutes walk from Kalam's house. Our locality was predominantly Muslim. In that locality, mostly Muslim people lived, but there were quite a lot of Hindu families too, living amicably with their Muslim neighbors. Amicably, very friendly. There was very cordial relation between the Hindu and the Muslims. They also lived in the same locality. There was a very old mosque in our locality, where my father would take me for evening prayers. Mosque, you know, and Muslim place of worship, and every evening he would go with his father in that mosque. I had not the faintest idea of the meaning of the Arabic prayers chanted, but I was totally convinced that they reached God. He was then a mere child, so what would he realize, would he understand about the meaning of prayer? But he used to go every day, and he listened to the chanting of prayer, that means namaz. And though he could not understand anything, any meaning of the prayer, but how was he so convinced that they reached God? Because it was chanted in such a way, and it had such a melody that it touched the heart of child Kalam also, and he found some divine matter, some divine inspiration, and he felt, though he could not realize, he felt that the prayer reached God because it touched his heart. Now, when my father came out of the mosque after the prayers, people of different religions would be sitting outside waiting for him. People of different religions, not only Muslims. Why would they sit? Why did they sit outside for Kalam's father? Let us see. Many of them offered bowls of water to my father, who would dip his fingertips in them and say a prayer. They were waiting with bowls of water. Why? They offered it to his father, and his father would dip his finger in that bowls and would utter a prayer. because in this way they believed, those people believed that the water was sanctified, purified, জলটি পবিত্র করা হচ্ছে। For which purpose? This water was then carried home for invalids. Invalids, you know, the sick people. They believed that sanctified water would cure the sick members of their family. So they carried that water home. I also remember people visiting our home to offer thanks after being cured. People who were cured, they also came to their house to offer thanks, to thank Kalam's father. Father always smiled and asked them to thank Allah, the merciful. But his father thought that he did not have any power to cure the invalids. Allah, the God, he has cured them, and so he always advised people not to thank him but to thank Allah, who is the merciful, because by his mercy the invalids have been cured. Now let us stop here today, and next day we will continue, and you read it, and next day we will again discuss about this, and you will like it. I think you will like the piece, and up to my next class, you all keep fit and well and follow all the instructions, and thank you for listening to for attending to my online class so long.